We want to thank you for tuning in to the X Excuses podcast. Here where we find solutions, not dilutions. I got my co-host here, Brandon, and today we're going to be talking about Black history. So I'm going to let you set it off this time, brother. What you got on your mind?
Black history, as it relates to mental health, activists like Fred Hampton and organizations like the Black Panther Party understood this offering community care, political education, and mutual aid as a mental health protection. We talking about stigmas in Black communities, would be prayed away. We survive worse. Therapy is for white people. Don't tell family business. These weren't weaknesses. They were survival strategies in the world that punished vulnerability. When we were vulnerable, as it comes to our mental, mindset back in these days when the freedom fight was physical, that there were no coping skills. It was all sweeping it under the rug. We not telling what go on in this house. And it was devastating to our mindset, and it was unable a lot of Black people to move forward from these tragic events. It says that these weren't weaknesses, they were survival strategies to misconstrue the truth and the reality of what was happening to the people, because that's how oppressed we were. That's what they were telling us. They were telling us lies, and saying that these were survival antics and things of that nature. The modern movements are reclaiming mental health. Black therapists are culturally competent care. They show up. Black therapists show up for our people. Mental health, mutual aid circles, and faith therapy blends. Can't stress it enough. If you're going through an unnecessary level of anxiety because of Black history, it's okay to go see a therapist about that. Naming intergenerational trauma and choosing healing anyway. You have no choice unless you want to be bound by a mental suppression because of things that have already taken place. Then you kind of choosing it because now it's a healing, it's a salve, if you will, to read these untold stories, to ingest the principles that were implemented in the mindsets of these fallen heroes. Then it could turn around and work in our favor and be a healing tactic.
Yeah, because generations of Black families lived through slavery, segregation, violence, and unfair treatment. Fear, stress, and loss were normal parts of many people's lives in the Black community. Those experiences can affect how families handle emotions today. Because the thing about it, strength was required to survive. For many, showing pain was risky. People had to keep going on no matter what. So being strong became a rule. But sometimes that rule also meant don't cry, don't talk about it, and keep it inside.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? Yeah.
The civil rights and Black power eras came from constant psychological pressure. It came from the pressure of, I can't take it no more. I can't. They treat my mama any kind of way. She going already cleaning up for the folks and cooking for the folks' children, and they treating her like this. Like, how much does one person take mentally with that? And then you have to act out. You have to act out. The stigmas for unprocessed trauma is you a strong black person. No, you're a hurting black person, because if you're able to suppress trauma after trauma after trauma, and you can walk around and but your behavior is bitter, angry, but it's in the name of I'm independent, I don't need nobody. No, that came from somewhere. That came from somewhere.
I call I call this the volcano
Mm,
generation. Finally, it done erupted. And it's hot lava, man. It's burning
mm.
everything, man. Because, and like you said, out of all the years of trauma, hurt, pain, every time we try to climb out the hole, you beat us back down. You like like Black Wall Street and Rosewood. You
Yes,
just like lately near, like damn. Leave us alone. Let us prevail. Let us get our lives together. Let us live this American dream that we know that we can have. Haven't we been through enough? And they just keep on, keep on. Now it's just like F it. And it just
yeah,
erupts. Because the thing about it, silence can travel through generations.
yes,
When pain is never talked about, children still feel it. They may see anger, distance, or stress, but not always understand why.
yes, yes,
Some communities remember times when systems were unfair or harmful. Because of that, people may feel nervous about doctors or mental health
hmm,
services. You see what I'm
yeah.
saying?
The suppression lingers, because no one wants to advocate for it, and the statistics are rather disappointing when it comes to and this is current, that Black Americans are less likely to receive mental health treatment. They they just don't do it. It's the strong will in us to not want to get help, to say that we could do it on our own. But we're talking about the weight of hundreds of years of oppression. Trying to navigate that by
Mm-hmm.
yourself can cause some kind of mental breakdown. And you know that it said that we're most likely to be misdiagnosed, even if we do get the desire or the unction to get help for our mental state passed by generations. They diagnose us with something other than the truth, you know. And that's sad. That lets me know the level of decay in the accountabilities that have been set in place, according to the ones we vote for and the ones who have been set in these positions, um, for whatever reason. We're more likely to be jailed than treated during a mental
Mm-hmm.
health crisis,
Yeah. Yeah. Or killed.
or killed, or killed.
Mm-hmm.
You run up on somebody, the police, and they spazzing out, and the first thing comes to your mind is this man is a threat, and he may be a threat, but it's not an intentional threat. So between it being a threat and a non-intentional threat, there's a reason why he's a threat if it's not intentional. And that's what's being neglected and looked over, is the fact that missing link is that mental element where the dots are not connecting.
I remember here it wasn't Atlanta, it was in Decatur. And this guy he was a veteran from the Air Force, and he was having a mental episode. And he was outside. I don't know if he had a weapon. No, he didn't have one. He was just butt naked. And he started running at the officer, and the officer shot him in his chest several times. And he didn't have a weapon, but he was just butt naked. And I guess that scared the officer. But clearly, if somebody butt naked outside, you know he having a mental episode, man. and you decide the best thing to do is to shoot him in the chest? Come on, man. No.
Absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd, man. It's a lot play into that, man. It seems like we give badges and guns to killers. These are, and then you're giving them the permission to do it. Now, if you go to the nature of some cops or some law enforcement agents before the badge, before basic training, these are inspiring killers anyway, some of them. And this is the only legal way they could do it. And it's a harsh fact, but it's something that in childhood you developed the urge to feel powerful by a arm, and the only way you be a cop, and you go through these trainings and things, and then only for you to be just a legal killer, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not just now, but we got series of things that happened in recent years where we didn't really evaluate the mental state of law enforcement. And when if you racist on top of that, and you already got a killing spirit, now you got a badge and a gun. I mean, these are the spiritual wickedness that we pray against. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But the thing about it too, I can, and I am gonna speak on this, is that I know a couple of police officers, black and white. And after you see so much trauma in the black community from how they treat each other, and some of the devastating things I've heard them say they've seen going into some black communities, you don't even have to be racist to come up now with a stereotype.
Yeah.
When you do go encounter a black person, especially in a certain area. So it don't necessarily mean you racist, man.
Yeah.
Like even back in the day, you remember when they had the Columbine and they had the white boy with the trench coats and how they was looking. For a long time, when you see a white boy looking like that, you thought he was a mass shooter. I ain't racist, but hey, but this is what I seen. So how can you blame somebody for now when he see how y'all treat each other? How you expect me to think?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now you're gonna say, well, you shouldn't think like that. But damn, every time when I come to y'all neighborhood, this is what I see a lot of the times. Of course, not every time. And people don't have to keep saying, oh, well, it's not all black people. Of course it's not. But the ones that we know is like that, we need to let them know, hey, either you stop or you got to go. Like Charleston White said, call the police. If we know what's wrong and we really want it to be fixed, do what it takes to fix
Yeah.
it. Talk to them, help them with their situation, try to help them find work or whatever problems that we see we can fix amongst ourselves. Let's get it.
Mm-hmm.
And to the people that don't want to change, you got to go.
Yes.
Period. And check this out. And healing is not weakness. Taking care of your mind is also taking care of your future, man.
Mm-hmm.
And then now here's a problem that we run into a lot. 'Cause therapy can be expensive. Some neighborhoods may not have mental health providers. These can affect the people that it helps. But I know here where we at in Atlanta, there's a lot of free therapy going around for people to be able to get. If you really want it, you can get it.
Yes.
Now that's one thing I can
Yeah.
say. That's just like if you really like it's just like if you really on drugs and you want it, no matter what town you go to, You're gonna find it if you really want.
Absolutely.
So treat your addiction the same way. Now it don't necessarily even have to be drugs. It can be, what I mean, something to drink. It can be a man looking for some action with a female. If you really want it, you'll find a way to get it. You know. So look at your mental health the same way,
Yeah,
because your life depends on it.
absolutely. And you know, it's
Your life depends
our
on it.
life depends on it. The generations that are coming behind us, lives depend on it. And you know, we're a platform where we offer solutions and not dilutions. I just want to offer our family some solutions or some coping mechanisms to may detour your feelings toward past trauma, historical events, and the fallen heroes. Black history health. History doesn't erase the pain, it balances it with agency, joy, and wisdom. Joy is resistance, music, laughter, dancing, and love. Community care will help us navigate our feelings toward negative Black history events and pieces. Mutual aid, churches, fraternities, Panther survival programs, intellectual strength, HBCUs, Black newspapers, storytellers, anything that might elevate your perspective or your perception on where we've come from. These are some things that you might want to involve yourself in to further your excellence, to enhance your excellence. Creativity is a great outlet to um, help us continue to honor some Black painters, some museums. We're all over. We're all over the High Museum. We're sprinkled all over the place. And these are things that help us reappreciate who we are as a people and what we've come from. Jazz concerts, hip hop, poetry, fashion, spoken word, fashion shows, going to the library, looking at some pieces of work that are not often in the spotlight, and they're readily available for our consumption.
Yeah. I'm finna give you a mic drop. Our people mastered survival. Now we're learning recovery.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
They told me this. I heard this in a place. They told me, damn, I forgot. It left me. What was the last thing you said?
Our people mastered survival. Now we're learning recovery.
Yes, we're not responsible for what happened, but we are responsible for our recovery. And the recovery may look like how we internalize what happened in Black history. We're responsible how we respond to what happened to us in Black history. We're even responsible of how we feel and how we navigate those feelings. So we're not responsible for what happened. But we are definitely responsible for how we respond to what happened.
I got two questions for you as we wrapping this up. The first question is, how can families start normal conversations about mental health?
By the truth, by getting to the direct nature of what's going on in your head, as weird as it may seem, as unique as it may seem. If you don't go to a doctor and tell them the exact nature of what's going on with you, you would not get an exact antidote or the help you need. It's going to be based off what you tell them, which is not the real reality. So tell your family that something is going on, and you know what, you may not even need to have that conversation with your family. Your family might not be
Mm.
ready for you to go tell them that you have a mental illness. I would find somebody trusted, and because stigma is so deep and piercing, and we in the deep south, so we got the Bible Belt people. You just some stuff you just don't talk about because of judgmental spirits. However, there are outlets to express your exact need, and so that you can get the exact help that you need, because the family piece can be tough when it comes to um anything that ain't fixed, anything that's could be maybe an embarrassment to the family, or whatever the case, whatever the spirit of secrecy is, and about families. It's a hard thing to coming out with different maybe diagnosis, or a mental health diagnosis, or a sexual preference, or whatever. Is our family is our you know believe it or not, and it's more
I got
so
a
than
question.
not. That's the hardest barrier to get through, is breaking news to your family.
Okay, I have a question. That judgmental spirit, because here's something I want to share. Um, when we say judgmental, is because me helping you doesn't mean that I got to co-sign with everything that's going on in your head. So just because I don't agree with some stuff that you speaking, does that make me judgmental?
um it does not make you judgmental, because everybody has their say on everything. um if you're deeming what my problem is, or what I'm going through, worse than you, then yes, you're judgmental. Because really, if you want to look at it,
So hold on, stop. Now say that again because I'm trying to understand. Now repeat that
it
last part one more
depends
time.
on the the intention of your opinion. If I tell you I'm sick,
Mm.
or if I tell you something is wrong, and you go on a judgmental rant, it's a reason why. If you're not often offering me encouragement or whatever, but you might be taking my struggle to cover up your struggle. See,
That sounds more like criticism than judgmental.
well, it all depends on the intention. It depends on the intention, on what you do with the information I give you. If I give you something personal, or not even personal, and you criticize it, you dissect it, you ridicule it, and all of that, then I have to ask, why are you doing that? So,
Because judge to me is me. Okay, like me when people say judge, like me, okay, if I'm judging you, I am gonna analyze the situation that you are giving
yeah.
me. And I'm gonna judge my thoughts and see what's best for me to present to you. That's me judging. It's same way as when you go inside the courtroom and the judge will sit up there. He say, and he look at all your evidence and he says, I think this is the best sentence for you to help you go to be re rehabilitated, or you just go spend life in prison, or you pay this fine to do this here. I think this should help you. I Since you can't do it on your own, here's my judgment of what I think is best for you. Now, too, I think we be talking about criticizing. When you come to me and you say something like, "Hey, AJB, I think, man, that I feel like this," and I'll be like, "Oh man, see, you just don't know what you talking about. See, you stupid. See, the thing about it, you should do this right here because if you don't, man, I'm criticizing you. I'm trying to belittle you. I'm not judging you.
Well,
No, that's my interpretation of. That's how I analyze and think about judgment and criticism. Because I think, because if I'm judging, I'm I'm judging what I can best say to help you, and two, I'm judging and I'm dissecting and analyzing what you told me, so I can give you the best solution.
in that era, um, yeah, I can see that. I meant judgmental as if though you ain't got no flaws, or judgmental as in, what I got going on is the worst case scenario ever in life. That's not that. A lot of information is withheld um from one family member to another family member, and it stems from stigma. It still it stems from stigma. What other people have said over the years, and how people have reacted to certain stigmas is the reason why people withhold information, personal information. And to break the stigma is to avoid those barriers that may bring judgment, and you be real with yourself to say, I need some help. This is not the source where my help is. This is trouble. This is emotional trouble over here. I'm going to go to one of these uh facilities. I'm going to go to one of these support groups. I'm going to go to one of these doctors, and I'm going to get 100% butt naked honest with myself and the doctor, and tell them so I can get the help that I need. If I go over here, this going to add to my problem. And we still
Mm-hmm.
talking about families, and talking about telling your family that you have a mental illness. 9 times out of 10, they know you probably got one anyway. They just scared to approach you with it, because now they got a problem. Now if they point it out to you, now they are held to an esteem where they have to either navigate you to that help, and then that opens a whole door to some of their stuff. So it
Mm.
all boils down to the man in the mirror, bro. Who are you telling? Who is that man in the mirror telling the truth to? Who are they even talking to and telling their business to, other than the one that can help? And that'll alleviate some of the pain from Black history trauma right there.
I think some people need to accept the help and stop worrying about too much what the other person got going on. I've gave a lot of people right information, but when I go home, I didn't
Yeah,
do it. But I knew I should have been
yeah,
doing it. I knew I should have been surrendering to my own inner spirit, what God was trying to teach
yeah,
me. I couldn't allow myself to tell you nothing wrong.
yeah.
I be giving the truth so hard one time, it damn near make you be like, damn, drop your head, but it was the truth, you know, and everybody can't handle the truth
Nope.
like that. Oh, who you
Yeah,
talking to? My uncle was dead right. I was like, damn, uncle. Now in my mind, I was like, you sure been the a-hole
yeah.
about it. But hey, you absolutely right, man.
Check this out.
You know.
I can't help but to think about generations and how our current mind state plays a great deal in our generational torches that were passed, or generational traditions that were passed, right? And we were
Uh-huh.
raised a certain way, and we feared certain people, and we had reverence for certain people, and they taught us to have a level of life. They instilled in us a level of life that they expect, and it's a disappointment, not necessarily parent to child, but maybe mentor to mentee, or anything or anybody that you're pouring into, and they sway away from the principles and the morals that you gave them. And it may not even be their fault, right? It could be a mental disorder. It could be um untreated grief. It could be untreated trauma, whatever it is to cause the imbalance in the brain to act erratically or sporadically mentally. you know Going to your family is the toughest. I know that from experience, and also being around the rooms of probably hundreds of people that have walked my shoes. to say the same thing. They gonna kill me. What they gonna say? And blah blah blah. They ain't gonna, and these are the stigmas that we drug from yesteryear. Not
Mm.
utilizing the tools and the coping mechanisms to let us know that acceptance is the key, that you can't change nothing to nobody but you. They not using, the AI is good and pills are good, medicine is good, but talking to somebody and getting another perspective of another human being, maybe they can add some lived experience to it, and maybe they got book knowledge to it to help you where you are. And being shameful and being guilt ridden because of some things that has happened, some things that have happened concerning mental, whether it's addiction, whether it's, I don't know, it may be born in you or whatever, but we all humans, bro. Ain't nobody got no magic wand to say, boom, here you go, or some oil here, rub that on you or whatever. Nah, we got to talk this out. And we have to learn to accept what God is allowing in our life. He removes people for a reason. He makes room for new people. God is erasing and replacing. And, you have to do that for your mental health too, if you want to be healthy holistically.
When you talk about God, and I'm gonna say this, you have to be ready to fully surrender. And even if you don't want to talk about God and you want to go to the therapist or you want to go ask for help, you need to be willing to let your ego go and accept the help. Step aside and let the help enter you and take the help's advice. Because being in your head done got you to this point. So step aside and let the help
Let the
help.
help help.
Period.
Let the help help.
I got one more question, man, before we tap out. What would healing look like in our community?
Unity, bro. Unity. If we get closer together, man, I can know what you know and you can know what I know.
Mhm.
If it don't apply to me, it's cool to let it fly. But if it apply, I'm gonna use it, thus strengthening my arsenal for survival mentally. I need to know every coping skill
Yeah.
you got. If it don't fit me, then I'm not gonna wear it. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking
Hmm.
tidbits as I go. As I hit, as I continue to heal, as I continue to heal mentally, man, I'm taking tidbits of wellness everywhere I can get it, man. I'm looking for springs of wellness.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I know what illness looks like. I know what that looked like. But now,
Hmm.
being a black man of age, being a black man of a level of maturity, I have to be looking for spurts of wellness in everything, internally and externally, man. Because the forces are out for my demise physically and mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And it's up to me to recognize it, accept it, and put a stop to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, brother. I want to thank you again for your input and I truly
I
appreciate you.
appreciate
And I want to say out here to my YouTube family that we're looking to get to 200 subscribers by what I said, March or April. Let's go for March. Let's go for March. So we really appreciate you all for listening and for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're gonna talk to y'all later.